Hello, and welcome to the GPJ for Stargate 48 Hours, Season 5, Episode 14. That's right. Again. Still. Correct. Question 2. Where does the iris go? Now, this is something that I've always wondered because the gate seems to be this, intricate, tightly packed thing that is just so perfect in almost every way. It's also well aesthetically designed as well, with all the flowy lines and the various patterns on it and stuff. It just seems that there's no real room to actually get the iris in there, in anywhere of the gate. However, there's a couple of things that I want to address, and that is how they actually get the gate to do what it does without a DHD, and that is that they actually plug things into the gate. The struts that you see, the big red struts that you see holding the gate up, are just holding the gate up. They actually are connected into the gate through various control panels and stuff that we've removed or have just moved or have taken up. We've essentially taken the gate apart. And it's never explained that this has happened. It's just kind of a thing. We just have completely removed everything that we possibly can from the gate and put it all back together again, purely because we wanted to see how it worked in the first place. And that's not easy, considering that the gate is this hugely robust thing that can survive multiple nuclear explosions all at once near a black hole. It's just and it has moving parts. It has a couple of moving parts. So it's one of those things of we've done all this, but it's never said that way, that we have actually done this. In doing so, we've made two modifications, and that is that we've actually stuck a kind of a tire thing underneath the gate that you can actually. It's non-invasive. We've basically stuck a kind of it's essentially a tire hidden underneath the ramp. There's a tire or some kind of wheel or something that moves it turns the inner ring of the gate and stuff, and that's not invasive. Essentially, when you give the gate enough power to do its job, and you do that by plugging various things into it, or you can just hook it up, hook some live wires onto it and hope that they work. It actually needs a very, very small amount of power to do what it does, except for our gate, which doesn't have a DHD, so it kind of means it needs the charge of it. It's all very complicated. I'm not going to get into that. Once that happens, the inner ring kind of unlocks, and you can use the tire to spin around the gate as much as possible. The other modification that we've made is that we've actually plugged power into it, like I said, and are hooked up to various control crystals that we get electrical responses from, and that's how the gate can do. That's how the SGC can do all its diagnosis, as well as turn off the gate. We've got one of the only Stargates that you can actually just shut down the gate. You can also do all sorts of weird, funky shit with it, and it has over 400 responses, and it's capable of 4,000, etc. that we can do with our own DHD. That's also how we can make it do the cool, the chevron locky thing on the to lock the chevrons and stuff. But essentially, we've taken it apart, never explained. I'm not complaining. It's just one of those things that that they assume you should know, because then how do they get all the stuff to work? In taking the gate apart, they've actually they've moved a part of the circuitry that actually enables the gate to function properly, and that's I wrote it down. This is off of the Stargate Wiki and also all of the various internet sources. They've moved the boundary coil assembly to the rear, this creates and boundary coil assembly is basically a series of well, like what it sounds like. It's a series of coils that can channel plasma through them and various other stuff, lots of magnetic complicated shit and stuff, and they're on the boundary on the inside of the gate, and it's very, very touchy-feely, and you shouldn't really think too much about it, but it enables the actual wormhole, the event horizon of the wormhole, to like not touch the ring or anything else, because if it does that, it will break everything. Everything would just go, all of the things in the gate would be bad, not goodness. But essentially we've moved that stuff to the rear, and you know, all the stuff that provides it power, all of the stuff that enables it to function properly, the everything that enables it to do that stuff. We've actually created a recess by moving it to the rear of the gate, and it's kind of like in its own separate thing, and we've done that. That's our modification. And we've taken off the cover for the on the front of the gate. We've taken off the cover, it comes off in pieces, and we've actually put hydraulics and all that kind of funky stuff, miniature hydraulics and all that kind of funky stuff, actually in that recess that we've created, as well as all of the actual metal that you see when it comes out from the from behind its cover, and kind of just irises like it does, and it's so cool. That's very cool, but it requires you a lot. It requires a lot of knowledge to know how that thing works, and they do fairly a good job. But they just never explain where it goes when it's not seen, you know, and that's fair enough. I mean, you can't expect them to explain everything. It's just never been a thing. You know, they never needed Carter to say the recess that we created when we put the iris in the gate. You know, it's basically, we fitted the iris. We can sometimes like make it so that it slots in slightly more and stuff, which is another thing to turn off the gate, and it's all a perfectly reasonable explanation. It's actually kind of cool if you think about just the fact that they've got a interplanetary wormhole making machine in the first place. So there's that, and that's the end of this episode. It's this whole big thing.